Number one, your intentions should be easy to read every day as a leader, all right? Number two, people follow people more than ideas, all right? 3, in relationships, trust is the key that opens all locks, right? There's a theme here, right? You've all probably in your morning study, these are the same things that come through. Number 4, make each person feel like they are the most important person. 5, do not expect reciprocity for all your relationship efforts. Control your tongue. James talked about that. Man, that's been hitting me hard for my whole life. Never live in the world of loss. Make sure you know what you're talking about. It's kind of important, right? I think Paul talked to Timothy quite a bit about that. And then last but not least, be a great example, okay? So number 1, your intention should be easy to read every day. Why you do what you do, what you say, it should be obvious, okay? We tell our coaches, don't play poker with the players. You know, sometimes you'll hear players say, matter of fact, a young lady who's a lacrosse player that's doing an internship for us in analytics, like this brilliant girl from Harvard College. I asked, how's it going with your team? She goes, well, you know, sometimes the coach plays mind games with us. Mind games, man. I never want to be a coach and hear that I'm playing a mind game with somebody. You know, they should be talking about you saying, well, you may not like what you hear, but he's going to tell you what he really thinks. He's going to be honest with you, right? As a coach. So be forthright and be upfront with people. And then the verse piece here, I don't know if we get to the next slide there. There we go. The verse piece here, that's great, that's awesome. Matthew 5:16. Johnny, you helped me with this, thanks. I gave Johnny the messages, he gave me the Bible verses. Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. All right? Let your light shine. Number 2, people follow people more than ideas. Now, I'm not going to read John 1 through 35 through 45. I'll kind of talk about it, but really it's what it's about there, that long verse there, and you all know this verse, this story, is when Jesus started gathering up his disciples, all right? He just kind of came, it seems like when you read it, he just kind of came across them and found them and said, come on, let's go. And they said, all right. I'm thinking there was probably some conversations that went on or something that drew these guys. I know John talked about it and said, there is the Lamb of God right there. There he is. That got everybody's attention. And then there's something about Jesus, the person. He said, follow me. He didn't say follow this idea, follow Christianity, follow this. He couldn't have even told the story. They wouldn't have believed him before it happened. They didn't believe him after it happened. And then they figured it out, right? But he just said, follow me, and they followed the person. People follow leaders who care about them, care about their success and well-being. People who are willing to be their believer, their motivator, their pusher. Okay? Push them to greatness, to do hard things sometimes. Who in this room has been successful that hadn't had somebody along the way that believed in them, right? So like we might think about it. I might think about who won the NBA last year. All I know is the Bucks because I like the Bucks. But who won 2 years ago? Okay, it's hard to remember. I can't even remember who won the Super Bowl last year. Well, it was the Rams, but I won't speak about that, you know? If it's not the Ravens, I don't want to know. But we can all talk about who the most important, most influential person in our life, someone that believed in us, someone that told you somewhere along the way, you're good at something. You got what it takes. You can be something special. And as leaders, as parents, as grandparents, we're shaking our heads. Don't we try to do that for our kids and for our grandkids and for anybody that's kind of in our sphere? Take an opportunity. I tell our players all the time, when you come across someone wants an autograph, get down on a knee, look that young person right in the eye and say something, speak something into their heart. Like, boy, I bet you're really smart. Or, oh, you have a beautiful smile. Or you're just a wonder. I can see you're a wonderful person. You're going to make something someday. You're going to be great. I mean, if anybody tells us that, right? As a young child, we're just, man, you're so good. You can't wait. I like to hear it now. Someone tell me that on the way out the door. Make me feel good, right? But we, as much as we like to hear it, how often do we really do it? You know, how often do we really do it? How often do we take the time? If you did it once a month, okay? Once a month, if you thought about doing it, that'd be 12 times in a year that you would have an impact that somebody would remember you, Craig Singletary, for the rest of your life, for the rest of their life. Oh, this guy, he was a security guy for the Ravens. He told me I was going to be great someday. He could see it in me. They're not going to forget that. Okay, you live another 50 years, that's 12 times 50. I'm not great at math, but that's a lot, right? How about if you do it once a week? Or how about if you make it your business to do it once a day, okay? Talk about the ripple effect, the influence on people's lives. People follow people. in relationships, trust is the key that opens all locks, okay? If you want to get the most out of a player, a person, you got to win them over emotionally. So as a head coach, my job is to try to connect with every person on the team and get to know them, all right? Make sure they understand I care about them and get to know them. So when you stand up in front of that room, okay, coaches, and you give your big speech, your big talk, before a game or after a game, maybe it's a tough time. Hey, maybe we've lost a bunch of games in a row, because the coach went for it in overtime. 2 times too many, Golly, what was he thinking? I don't know. I'm going to ask him when I see him next, But to connect with the room, you got to connect with each person. So as I look at every player in that room, I got a relationship with that person already. I got a relationship with Johnny or with Lamar, okay, or with Calais Campbell. I already know what he's worried about. I already know what his hopes are. I already know what he's mad about. I already know what he's happy about. Because you got to work out and talk to him every single day. You've already won the room over one person at a time, right? The relationships is the key. Trust that opens all locks. 1 Corinthians 8, 2 and 3. Those who think they know something do not yet know as they ought to know. But whoever loves God is known by God. God knows us all right? Inside and out and intimately. We're all the most important person in the world to God, right? Every single one of us is the most important person. Number 4, make each person feel like they're the most important, which dives right into what we're talking about. Let each one of your players know that their role, okay, here's your role. This is why your role is a most important role for us. And you're a most important player to us. And most definitely, you're the most important person I'm talking to right now in this instant. So you get all my attention as I explain to you what's important to you. And I know this because my daughter's a player now. She plays lacrosse. And I've seen coaches. And I didn't really get this. I didn't really get this until about 10, 12 years ago when she started playing, and I would watch coaches coach her. And I would say to myself, I don't like, that wasn't very good. I didn't like the way they said that. Or other coaches, that was really, she'd have a great day. She'd come home all pumped up. What'd the coach say? Coach said something. I learned from that. I thought to myself, you know what? I've been falling short on that. I haven't been doing a good job of putting myself, how about in the player's parents' shoes? Like, hey, if I'm a dad, I ask her every night, what'd the coach say? What'd you do today? How'd practice go? What'd the coach say, right? All the time. She's like, she can't remember half the time, or she don't want to tell me. I'll get it out of her, though, You got to go all good, okay? But I realized that I owed that to the player. I owed that to the parents. I owed that to the people that put that person, my young person, in my care. Just tell them what you think, and if you can, build them up as much as you can in an honest kind of a way, and let them know how valuable they are and how much they mean, all right? And then when things aren't going good, why am I not playing, coach? You know what? Because you're not playing fast enough. You're missing too many tackles. You don't know your assignments. Let's get that fixed specifically, and you're going to be okay. Romans 2:11. For God shows no favoritism. Again, he loves everybody, number 1. Do not expect reciprocity in these relationship efforts. You will not come out even. It's not a transaction. It's a transformation, right? That's what leadership is. It's not the goal of the leader, okay? But also take note of this as a leader. This is also a truth. People are mostly compelled to reciprocate the feelings you create in them. So if you create a good feeling in your players, a feeling that you love them and you care for them, because you actually do, because everybody can read through when you don't, all right? Then you got a really good chance of them reciprocating back to you in some form or fashion. In other words, you build a good team. John 3:16, I don't think there's any reciprocity in this one. For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that those that believe in him shall have everlasting life, right? His everlasting, his son. Number 6, ooh, boy, control your tongue. Okay? Negative and intimidating emotions create negative and intimidated teams. All right? So you want a team that is negative and intimidated, then be negative and intimidating towards them. You want a team that's positive and uplifting and full of energy, and bring that every single day, right? That's what you're going to get from your team. Dick Vermeil said, you can't expect a player to play like a champ when you treat him like a chump. That was powerful when I heard that. All right? And how many coaches do that? I don't know why, but why do we do that sometimes? Because we feel, I don't know, maybe the player didn't act the right way or didn't carry himself the right way. We do talk to our guys about bad body language and good body language, but you got to inform them. But if you start treating the guy all the time like he's the guy or the gal, like he doesn't matter, that he's not meaningful, then you know what? He's going to start believing it. Then you're not going to have a player that's playing very well. I want the opposite. James 3:3-6. We can make a large horse go wherever we want by means of a small bit in its mouth. And a small rudder makes a huge ship turn wherever the pilot chooses to go, even though the winds are strong. In the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches. But a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And among all the parts of the body, the tongue is a flame of fire. It is a whole world of wickedness, corrupting your entire body. It can set your whole life on fire, for it is set on fire by hell itself. Number 7, never live in a world of loss. This is a big one, okay? Especially in like an NFL type world. Because you know how it is, right? Social media, Stan, you were a player, then you were media, now you're good again, you're okay again. But you were always positive. You know, you always looked at it from a perspective of what can we do to get better. But it's easy to live in a world of loss. And if you're a coach and you walk in there lamenting all the things that aren't going well, okay, yeah, we're going to talk about, we say we confront everything but not anybody. That's how we do it. We confront everything, every single thing, every single day that relates to football and how we're playing. All right, Lamar, you got to throw the ball better. You got to make better calls in the huddle, okay? And these are the other things you're doing great, whatever it might be. Okay, you talk about all this stuff, but it's everything that relates to football and us being the best team we can be. But we're not talking about adversity in permanent terms. Great line here, I think. Hopelessness is where loss lives. Leaders who consistently create worry and doubt in their team inspire worry and doubt. All right? You got to walk in there. And as Christians, we are victorious already, right? We are more than conquerors through Christ. We know that already. So we're walking down the street, we're driving in our car, we're in the grocery store, or we're talking to our FCA team. I'm a conqueror. I'm a winner. I'm a champion. Now I'm bringing you along with me. You're coming with me, okay? Because Christ says so. Ephesians 4:6-8. This is top 5, Johnny. I asked Johnny, I had a great verse 2 weeks ago, and I said, Johnny, I thought it's run the race in such a way as to win, right? Is that Romans? I don't know, Johnny. You should know that. Well, he looked at me the same way in front of the team. I said, that's like your favorite verse, right, Johnny? He goes, top 10. All right, top 10's pretty good. Top 10's all right. This is top 5 for me right here, top 5. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds as you live in Christ Jesus. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. I love this part. This is the best part. This is like what it's all about right here. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. There's no world of loss in that. Number 8, make sure you know what you're talking about. If you can help a player play better, you will be respected as a coach, especially in our league. When you don't know, just say so, all right? Everybody can respect that. Say so, and I'm going to go find out. We'll get the answer for you. The only way to lose your team is to pretend you know what you don't, okay? 1 Corinthians 14:6-9. Dear brothers and sisters, if I should come to you speaking in an unknown language, how would that help you? And I think this also goes to being clear, all right? Being simple in what you say and being clear in your vision. You don't need to use a bunch of big words or as a coach stand up and act like you give a bunch of terms that fool everybody. Football is not that complicated. There's a lot to it, but it's straightforward, okay? So speech should be straightforward, I know as a football coach for sure. But if I bring you a revelation or some special knowledge or prophecy or teaching that will be helpful, even lifeless instruments like the flute or the harp must play the notes clearly, or no one will recognize the melody. And if the burglar doesn't sound a clear call, if the bugler, not the burglar, if the burglar sounds a clear call, we're going to get him, all right? My advice to burglars out there is but the bugler has to sound a clear call. How will the soldiers know that they are being called to battle? It's the same for you. If you speak to people in words they don't understand, how will they know what you're saying? You might as well be talking into empty space, all right? And that's advice I give to our coaches, all right? Last and definitely not least, actually number 1, after service, to lead by example. Because you know how many times, guys say all the time, we're in the draft, what kind of leader are you? Oh, I try to lead by example. Oh, okay, well, what do you do? You know, that's the next question. And some guys have good answers and some guys don't, you know. If you're going to lead by example, that means you're actually doing it, right? Okay? Set an example worth following. Actions speak for themselves. Actions are at the heart of your credibility as a coach. If you're, and it's no shame to be who you are, like we said back in the beginning. Like everybody knows where I stand as far as what my beliefs are, my faith. I'm not out there, Johnny. I'm not preaching every day, okay? But I think I am preaching every day by what I do, I hope, okay? But they know the basis and the foundation of all of our messages and where we're coming from. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm actually very proud of that, okay? That is honorable. That is good. You're not trying to fool anybody. Let them know who you are, okay? But then when you do that, man, you better follow up with what you do, because if not, you have no credibility, right? And then when you make a mistake, what do? You know what? I made a mistake. I messed that up, okay? I got to do better than that. If your actions prove your words, you are legit. Whatever you want your team, I would say your people, whatever you want your team to become, be that. You want your team to be classy, you got to be classy. You want your team to be tough, you got to deal with things, you got to be tough. You want your team to play hard, you better work hard as a coach. Okay? They're going to reflect you in what they do. James 2:14-16. What good is it? Boy, James, man, he got right to it, didn't he? James didn't mince any words now. He told it. That James was Jesus' brother, right? Okay? What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself is not accompanied by action, is dead. Okay? So, yeah. Be a great example. Okay? So that's my leadership message.